Boom. Recording in progress. So yeah, I'm just honestly happy and grateful, right, for everything that's happened, this year, and honestly, last month, because it's just shaped me and the organization and the team to where it is that we're actually going, right? This is the last quarter. We're going in with the bang. We're closing off with, a strong, closing. And I always tell people, right, that it doesn't matter what happened in the last 3 months of this year, right? Champions are created and championships are won in the fourth quarter. And right now we're on the fourth quarter. So put aside everything that happened this year, whether you lost money, you blew accounts, whatever the case may be, put that all behind you, because right now you have a clean slate for you to actually start making this last quarter the best quarter of your year, setting you up for a good 2022. Like, you could do a lot of damage, you could do a lot of things, within now and the end of the year, right? So I'm just happy and grateful, that I can actually play a part in that, right? On the monetary aspect, helping you guys learn the skill and actually, multiplying your money. I'm just actually looking at a trade right now. I'm looking at a trade right now as we approach, the Q2 mark, right? So I'm looking at Euro GBP. I'm looking at Euro GBP. So everyone go to Euro GBP. Everyone go to Euro GBP. I'm actually, I'm looking at a setup right here. So if you guys already have your broker accounts open, go to Euro GBP. Looks like we already have a setup. It looks like we already have a setup that's coming into place, right? So let's just get this Monday on the road. Let's just get this Monday moving. But remember, very important to note, guys, that it is a Monday. So I always mention this, right? Mondays are, you have to be very, 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 very cautious when it comes to Monday. Why? Because it was the weekend. The markets just recently opened, after the weekend. So Mondays and Fridays are very, very, volatile, days when it comes to the market, because, like I say, on Fridays, the market is just trying to catch up to reach a certain. We're definitely are not going to take this trade, right? It's already making that move to the upside, guys. It's already making that move to the upside. Right? We were going to take this for a call, but look at that. It's already making that move to the upside. So we are not taking this trade, right? We're not taking this trade in the next 15 seconds. So Euro GBP is already making that move to the upside. Okay, so let me just quickly explain why we have to be very, very cautious on Mondays and Fridays, right? So like I always explain, right? The market is like a human being, right? The market is like a human being. So what does that mean? It means that the market has certain goals that it needs to hit. This market is already pushing, guys. This market is already pushing to the upside like crazy, right? So the market has goals that it needs to hit at, every week, every month, every year, every quarter, right? So what happens is that, on Friday, the markets are going to close, boom, right? And then on Monday, what's going to happen is that because the markets were closed, right, when they open on Monday, they just burst out, right? So they're going to move irregularly. Why? Because they're just trying to find their feet. They've been closed for the whole weekend. So right now, everything is just being flooded out, right? So the markets on Monday are very, very volatile. So you want to, be very, very careful when you're trading on Mondays and on Fridays, right? Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are the best time to trade, because the market always respects price action, always respects zones, right? But on Monday, on Friday, and we guys saw this on Friday, and I think last week Monday, that price just continues to move at either a frantic pace or at a very, very slow pace, right? On Friday and on Mondays, right? So we have to be very, very careful, with that, so that we don't give our money away to the markets. Because remember, the number one priority of a trader is not to make money. Right? You are going to make money from this platform. You are going to make money from the markets. This is a $6.6 trillion market every single day. But your main priority is what? Your main priority is to protect your capital, protect the money you already have. Because once you protect the money you already have, you're going to start, going out and taking the proper trades, right? Which are going to allow you then to start making money, right? It's to protect your capital and to learn. The more you learn, the more you earn. Why? Because the more advanced, the more information, you're getting and feeding yourself, right? The more trades, you're more going to be certain when it comes to taking specific trades. So what I like to do, right? What I like to do is before we even trade, guys, before we even trade, very important for you to do these two things, right? Very important to do these two things before you trade. You always want to look at the news. Remember, we're trading what? We're trading currencies, right? We're trading currencies. So what does that mean? It means that we have to look at what the news are saying, because the currency strength and the currency weakness, right, are going to be based on the policies, that are going to be implemented, the inflation rates of these, countries. For example, if today, Joe Biden in America is going to issue something, about, interest rate or tax laws, whatever the case may be, that is going to affect the US dollar. Whether it's going to be strong or it's going to be weak, we don't know, right? So what does that mean? It means that if there's going to be news in the market at a specific time, you want to know about that, because that is also going to affect what you're trading, right? So we always want to go to forexfactory.com before you even jump on the markets, before you even look at a chart, right? Look at what is actually happening on that day. Do you have news? Do you have any bank holidays? Do you have any high impact news? What is really happening when it comes to the currencies, right? So you have 4 different folders, right? You have 4 different folders. The first folder is a yellow folder. You've got an orange folder. You've got a red folder. And last but not least, you have a silver or white folder, right? So number 1 is a yellow folder. So what does that mean? Yellow folder means low impact news. So that's just giving us a green light. Hey, listen, doors are open. You can start trading. We're good to go, right? So that's a yellow folder. And then you have an orange folder. Now the orange folder is medium impact news. So when you're trading that currency, for example, at 9 a.m., we're going to have a medium impact news on the euro. So at around 9 a.m., you want to be cautious when you're trading the euro, right? When you're trading euro at 9 a.m., you want to pay attention to exactly what you're doing, because there's medium, impact news, right? So they might impact, the currency that you're going to be trading if it's against the euro, right? And so that's the orange folder. And then the red folder is high impact news. You do not, I repeat, you do not want to trade a currency that has what? That has a red folder. Now look at you. We've got red folders all day. I just don't see which currency this is. Oh, I think it's a euro, right? The euro all day has high impact news. So what does that mean? It means that we're avoiding anything to do with the euro, because we don't know what this is going to actually impact, cause impact on the euro, right? So we do not want to play around with the red folders, right? So that's the third one. And then number 4 is the white or the silver folder. Now this just simply means there is a bank holiday. Remember, the market movers are the banks. The banks are the ones who move the market, right? Because this, guys, remember, we're doing exactly what the banks are doing. We're going straight to the source now. The way that we're making money is the way that the banks make money, right? Remember that. This is why this is special, guys. When it comes to trading, you have to understand that you're making money the same way the banks are making money, right? So there are going to be days where there are going to be bank holidays. So what does that mean? It means that that currency that has a bank holiday is going to move very, very slow on that day, because there's no trading happening. The bank is not flooding any money in, right? So we can see here CNY has a bank holiday, but we don't really trade CNY. So that means that we're good to go, right? We're trading the way the banks are trading us. We're collecting the bag, with the banks, right? But they are the market movers. We are not the market movers. We're just, small pieces to the puzzle, right? We're just, floating with the wind, right? We're just moving with the momentum, all right? The banks are the ones that are going to, flood, the markets with billions of rands on a daily basis, trading these currencies. All we're doing is we're just tagging along, right? They're the ones who are putting in a lot of money. We're just in there for the ride, to make our $100, to make our $10,000, to make our $1 million, you're right? Whatever the case may be, whatever amount of money that we want to make. Because remember, this is a $6.6 trillion market every single day, not, every month, every single day. this market is circulating at $6.6 trillion, right? So you have to ask yourself, how much money am I taking away or am I getting from that? What's my piece of the pie, right? What's my share, all right? So over here, guys, we have the currency strength, right? So that's number 2 now. Number 2 is the currency strength. Now that we know what to trade and what not to trade, we want to see which currencies we want to focus on. So like I said, we're not going to look at anything with the euro. Why? Because the euro has a lot of news today. So we don't want to trade anything to do with the euro, right? So we've identified that, okay, so euro, when it comes to news, everything else was good to trade except for the euro. So let's just now look at the strengths, right? Now, this is where you can actually start to identify which currency pairs you want to focus on and you want to trade, right? Based on the strength. So let me just give you an example, guys. So this is where you also look at whether, are we looking for a buy or are we looking for a sell? Are we looking at an uptrend or are we looking at a downtrend? What is it that I need to be focused on? What is it that I want to start seeing when I open the charts? So now we haven't even opened the charts, right? This is all pre-planning. Remember, guys, when you're a trader, you have to pre-plan. You have to plan your work and work your plan. So this is us now planning how we're going to start opening the markets to start trading, right? So for example, I'll give you guys an example of what you could potentially see, right? So let's just get GBP USD. That is a currency pair. GBP USD. Now we always, when it comes to currency pairs, you have a base and you have a quote. A base currency and a quote currency. Now a base currency is the first currency. A quote currency is the second currency, right? So GBP USD, what is the base currency? The base currency is the Great Britain pound. The quote currency is the US dollar. So I always tell people, if you want to know whether you want to look for a buy or you want to look for a sell, pretend as though you have a seesaw. Now, what is a seesaw? A seesaw is those things that kids used to play on that goes up and down, right? Up and down. So pretend, for this example, pretend that the seesaw is level, right? There's nothing on the seesaw, it's just level. Now, what do you want to do? You want to put both currencies on the seesaw. So you've got GBP USD. You've got GBP on the left because it's the first currency, and you've got USD on the right because it's the second currency, all right? Now, which currency is stronger? USD is stronger. So what does that mean? It means that the graph is going to tilt to the downside, right? It's going to tilt to the downside. Why? Because USD is pushing the graph to the downside because it's stronger than GBP, right? It's stronger than GBP. Now in reverse also, now let's look at USD JPY. Look at USD and look at JPY. USD is much stronger than JPY. So USD is the first currency. JPY is the second currency. Now USD is stronger, so it's going to tilt this market to the upside, right? It's going to tilt the market to the upside. So if I were to open USD JPY, I'm going to see an uptrend. If I were to open GBP USD, I'm going to see a downtrend. So I already know that, okay, every time if I now go and I go open a USD JPY chart, automatically the only thing that I need to be focused on is I need to be focused on looking for buys. I need to be looking at opportunities where I can actually buy the market. If I'm looking at GBP USD, I need to be looking for ideas where I'm looking at a downward trade. I need to be looking at ideas for sell opportunities, right? So I already know now, because remember, guys, when you're trading, you always want to move with momentum. You always want to move with the market movers. You never want to trade against the trend. You always, write this down. The trend is my friend. The trend is my friend. You always want to move with the trend. What are the big banks and the big players doing? The big players on GBP USD are selling. So what do you want to do? You want to latch on to the big players. If the big players are selling, you want to sell. If the big players are buy, you want to buy. Right? Because that's where a lot of money is being pushed, right? So let's just open up the charts right now so you guys can actually see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So remember, we talked about GBP USD and USD JPY. So let's just open our charts on both. Let's just open our charts. Let's first go to GBP USD and see what we're having there. GBP USD. GBP USD, GBP USD. There we go. Boom. What did I tell you guys? right? Haven't even opened this graph and this chart, but automatically, if you guys can actually see, this is a downward trend. Look at that. This is the highest point, and the market has just been pushing what? To the downside. Market has been pushing to the downside. Why? Because USD is stronger than GBP. So we're looking at a downtrend over here, right? We're looking at a downtrend over here. So when I open this graph, what I want to happen is I want market to move to an area where I'm comfortable with selling, right? I'm only looking for sell opportunities on this graph, right? Because there's more red candles than blue candles. The red candles indicate a sell, right? And a blue candle indicates a buy. So I'm looking at this graph over here and I'm saying, listen, this is a downward trend. The market has been pushing to the downside. So I want to move with the market. I want to move with momentum. So as I'm looking at this graph right now, I'm already identifying potential zones where I want to sell, continue to sell this market. I do not want to buy this market. I don't want to go against the trend, because that's when you're going to start losing money, is when you're trading against the trend. If the trend is your friend. Now let's go to USD JPY. Let's go to USD. So USD JPY, remember we said that we should be looking for buy opportunities. Let's open USD JPY. Look at that, right? Can you guys see that already? The currency strength already indicates and determines what it is that we want to see. So look at this. This is the lowest point, and the market has just been continuing to push up, right? So we already know the direction of the market. So as we're opening this graph over here, we know what we want. What do we want? We want to look for the best opportunities where we can actually look for buy opportunities. We want to continue to move to the upside, right? So what are we looking at? We're looking at USD JPY, and we're looking at specific zones that we would actually like to take this trade on, right? Now, I can already see, right? I can already see a good zone here where I would like to take this trade. Let me write down this trend here. Let me write down a trend line over here. Boom. Let me put this here. We're going to make it thick. Boom. Right? We're going to make it thick. So automatically right now, I look at this graph and I'm looking at an uptrend, right? So the market, continues to break and create higher highs. So what I want to happen over here, right? What I want to happen over here, let me just move this to the side. What I want to happen over here is I want this market to push back to this level, right? Because as soon as it pushes back to this level, to this zone, I'm confident that the market is going to reverse and continue to push back to the upside, right? But remember, I'm not certain, right? I'm not certain what the market is going to do, right? I'm just basing it on probabilities. There is a high probability that if the market continues to drop and get to this level, it's going to reverse. I'm not sure. I can't be 100% sure because I do not move the market. I do not control the market, right? We do not trade certainty. Make sure that you understand that. We do not trade certainty. We trade probability. What is the probability of this market continuing to move to the upside? It's a high probability because USD is actually stronger than JPY. Right? This is an uptrend. We've got this and that and that. We identify variables, right, that are aligning to this probability to push to the upside. All right, but we're not certain. Sometimes the market is not going to move in our direction. We might look at a certain variable, a certain opportunity, and say, okay, this might happen because of this and this, and then it doesn't happen. All right, why? Because we're not market movers. We do not move the market. All right, so what I would like to happen is I would like this market to push back down to this zone so that I can be confident in taking it back to the upside. Why this zone, Layden? Oh my God, I didn't even introduce myself. For those of you who do not know who I am, right? Those of you who do not know who I am, you're probably wondering, who is this bearded guy who's telling us about, zones and all of that? Now, this is my first time here, and I don't even know this guy. He's shouting, like he knows me and all of that. I do apologize. My name, for those of you who don't know who I am, is Bubele Nazo, but you guys can call me Layden, right? I'm a Platinum 1000 from this platform within this opportunity, just closing in on, 90 days, 3 months within this platform, right? So I'm just, honored, happy, and grateful to be connecting with 80 people on this call, right? So yeah, so what I would like to happen, right, is I'd like this market, so let's just look at the time. I'd like this market to push down to this level over here, boom, so that it can continue to push back to the upside, right? Now, it looks like it's already making that move. And also remember, it's Monday. So sometimes on Mondays, the market is not going to respect zones. It's not. Sometimes it's not going to respect zones. Look at that. It's already making a strong push to the upside, right? It's already making a strong push, but I personally would like to take this trade at this level. Why? Because this was a previous ceiling that was broken. So now what's going to happen is I like for it to be tested as a floor so that the market can continue to push back to the upside. All right, that's what I would have liked to happen. But it looks like this market is already pushing very, very heavily to the upside. All right, so we're going to let that market move. We're going to let that trade go. All right, we're not going to force any trades, right? We only trade, setups that come to our zones and the places that we want to trade them. All right. We only trade, our zones. 85 people on this call. Wow. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. 85 people woke up this morning to jump on Layden's session to learn a skill set that's going to set them up for life. I'm just honored and happy and grateful. If what I'm saying is making sense, right? If what I'm saying is making sense, drop some twos in the chat box if you're with me already. If you understand where I'm at and understand exactly what I mean when I say, drop some twos in the chat box. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you never want to chase a trade, right? You never want to chase a trade. You always want the trade to come to you, right? You always want the trade to come to you, right? That's when you are comfortable with taking a trade. That's why I always tell people, right? When it comes to trading, it needs a lot of patience, right? You have to be patient and wait for the market to come to you, right? Because your number one priority is not to make money. You are going to make money, right? But you're going to make money when you do it the right way. So you have to mark your zones and trade your zones. If the market doesn't come to your zone, you wait for the next market. You wait for the next trade, right? You wait for the next trade. You don't force the market. So let me just see something here. It looks like, oh, okay, we said we're not going to trade Euro GB, anything to do with the Euro. So let me just leave this because Euro might play games on us anytime, right? Euro might actually play games of us, at any point in time. So I do not want to trade anything to do with the Euro because there is high impact news the whole day on Euro. So let me just move away from it and look for other zones, other setups. Right now, all I'm doing is I'm just browsing, right? I'm just browsing and looking at potential zones, potential setups, right? What I'd like to happen on, GBP, USD. Remember on GBP, USD, we're looking for sells, right? Also, I want to take, so how I take my trades. How do you take your trades, Layden? This is how I take my trades. First and most importantly, I always want to take my trades at the 15, the 30, the 45, and the hour mark. Why? Because that's where market tends to want to reverse, right? I've noticed that price tends to always want to reverse. Not always, right? Remember, we're not certain, but majority of the time at those intervals, price tends to want to reverse. So the next trade that I'm looking to take at 5:15 because there's a high probability. We're trading high probability setups. There's a higher probability that at 5:15, market is going to be at a zone where it's a high impact zone where it has a potential to reverse. Now, for example, on GBP USD, what I want to happen on GBP USD within, so how many minutes do we have? We've got about 8 minutes before the 15 mark. So I would like to happen is I'd like for price where it's at to push up, right? I want price to push up back to this zone. Sorry, geez. So what I would like to happen is I'd like price to push back up to this zone in the next 8 minutes so that we can continue to push back to the downside, right? So that's where I'm waiting for price to come to. If price doesn't get to that level, then it's completely fine, guys. We're going to look for another setup, right? Price looks like it's, USD is very, very, very strong. So it's pushing this market, deep within the downside, deep to the downside, because remember, we're on a downtrend here, right? But I like the market to come to certain zones before I'm confident with taking those trades, right? Because here's the thing, right? When you do take a trade, you want to win that trade, right? When you do take a trade, you want to win that trade. So you have to wait for high probability zones. You have to take the trade at zones where you're confident that, there's a high probability that if this market comes to this level, there's a high chance that this is going to happen because of this and this and that. You don't just want to take a trade just because, because now it's downward trend, you want to make money, let me take this trade. No, you want to take a trade where you know that you're confident, there's a high probability that should I take this trade at this zone, I'm going to clear, I'm going to make money, right? So I'm going to be patient and I'm going to wait for this trade to get to this level and protect my capital. Number one rule, protect my capital so that when it does get to this level, then I make money. Then I multiply my money, right? So for example, over here, this is the setup this is the place and the zone where I'd like to take this, trade. Why? Because there's a ceiling over there, right? Now, when you're selling, right? So pretend as though the market, right, is in an empty room. There's the floor and there's the ceiling. There's the floor and there's the ceiling. So what do you want to do? Every time you want to sell a market, you want to sell at the ceiling. Why? Because you're at the ceiling right now. The only way is for the market to bounce up, to bounce at the ceiling and continue to push back to the downside. At the floor, the only way is for the market to come down to the floor and push back to the upside. So pretend as though you've got a tennis ball. Once you bounce a tennis ball at the floor, what's going to happen is that it's going to bounce, boom, it's going to continue pushing to the upside, right? When you push, you throw a tennis ball to the ceiling, what's going to happen is that it's going to hit the ceiling, it's going to come back down, right? So that's what you want to do. Every time you want to take a trade, you want to make sure that it's either at the ceiling or at the floor. You don't want to take a trade in the middle of nowhere because you don't know whether the market is going to go up or down, all right? So there's a high probability that it could go either way, right? But there's a higher probability that the market is going to go down if it's at the ceiling. And there's a high probability that the market is going to go up when it's at the floor, right? So how do you spot zones? How do you spot the floors and the ceilings? Hourglass is making that simple. If you guys can actually see here, there is the red lines. All these red lines over here, those are ceilings. Red is a ceiling. Blue is a floor. Red, ceiling, blue, floor. Right? So when price is at a red zone or close to a red zone, it's close to the ceiling. So there's a high probability that it's going to want to reverse and push back to the downside. When price is close to the blue level, it's at the floor. So what does that mean? It means price is going to, high probability, is going to want to reverse up to the upside, right? So you always want to buy at the floor, sell at the ceiling. So right now we're coming in on, 5 minutes until the next trade. So let me just start browsing frantically and look for, setups. Let's just start looking for setups right now that we can take, that we can take. Hopefully you guys are learning. Hopefully you guys are getting value from this session, right? And also very important to note, guys, that, sometimes we might not even take a trade, right? Sometimes we might not take a trade because my duty, right, is to educate, right, and to stick to certain principles, right? My duty, I know that, a lot of people, they just want to jump on these sessions just for the sake of making money, right? But it's not just about making money, right? It's about learning, because once you start to learn, you're going to start to earn. If there's no setup that's happening in this hour session, then I'm not going to call out a trade just for the sake of ensuring that people are making money. Because what if we don't lose? What if we don't win that trade, right? So I'm not going to put myself under pressure to force matters. If the market is not moving the way it's supposed to move, it's completely fine, guys. We've got tomorrow, we've got Wednesday, we've got Thursday, we've got Friday. As long as we learned something on the session that we can actually take and go apply, all right? Because I've noticed that what tends to happen is a lot of people just they just want to trade. right? They don't want to finish an hour session of that trading. They have itchy fingers. They just want to click a button, right? And what's going to happen is that they're going to, start seeing setups that aren't even there. They're going to say, "What? I think it's at the right zone." They're going to take a trade just because they want to take a trade, not because it was on strategy or, it was aligning to, their rules or their plan. And then they're going to start losing money. We're not working with anything right now. I haven't called that anything. I will call out a trade idea when I see one. So I'm just browsing right now. I'm just looking at, all these setups, looking at, looks like all these trades are actually moving already in the intended direction. But let's just go to CAD CHF. Let's just go to CAD CHF. Everyone go to CAD CHF. Everyone go to CAD CHF. Let's just look at what's happening on CAD CHF. Everyone go to CAD CHF. Everyone go to CAD CHF. Oh, geez. USD JPY, ladies and gentlemen. USD JPY. USD JPY. Cancel CAD CHF. Let's go to USD JPY. Let's go to USD JPY. Actually coming in on a good zone. Let me just mark this zone over here. Let me just mark this zone over here. Boom. So USD JPY, we're looking for a call, right? We're looking for a call at the zone over here, the good zone. So what we're looking for, what we're waiting for, is we're waiting for the close of the new. We're waiting for the open of the new candle. So what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to count down, right? I'm going to count down at the 10-second mark. And as I hit the 0, everyone is going to click call, right? This trade is coming down to a good zone. It's coming down to a good zone. So let's just go to USD JPY. And then we're all going to take this for a call, right? 3 minutes fixed time off. 3 minutes fixed time off. Make sure 3 minutes fixed time off. And remember, guys, it's a Monday, so please use proper risk management, right? It's a Monday, use proper risk management, right? The markets, tend to not, always respect certain zones, right? But this is, coming in on a good zone, and it's also coming in on timing, right? So high probability, 3, 2, 1, boom. 3, 2, 1, boom, right? So if you're in on this trade, right, 3, 2, 1, boom. If you're in on this trade, drop some ins in the chat box, right? If you're in on this trade, drop some ins in the chat box so we see who took this trade. In, awesome. In, awesome. We are in profits, guys. We are in profits on USD JPY. We are in profits on USD JPY. It's moving, right? It's in our direction. Everyone is in, right? 89 people all took this trade, hopefully, right? Currently in profits, right? Currently in profits on USD JPY. So let's just wait and see what's going to happen. As soon as you also clear, do drop the clears in the chat box, right? As soon as you clear, do drop some clears in the chat box. All right, let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen. So let me just open USD JPY again. $90 people on the call, guys. Jeez. 90 people on the call. Wow. We are in profits right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are making money, right? We are making money. If you clear this trade, do drop some cleared. We already have people cleared, right? We are making money, ladies and gentlemen. 90 people on this call are clearing. We are making money, right? Drop some clears in the chat box if you're clearing this trade, drop some clears in the chat box if you're making money with me, right? 90 people on this session. That's our first trade of the month, guys. First trade of the month in deep profits. First trade of the month in deep profits. We're making money, right? Broke even, cleared, 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 broke even, cleared, cleared. So if you cleared this trade, drop some cleared in the chat box. I see the inbox, the chat box is flooding with cleared, guys. The inbox is flooding with cleared. This market is motoring away. It's moving. It's moving in profits, guys. It's deep, deep, deep in profits. Hopefully people jumped in on this trade. Hopefully people are making money with me. Cleared, 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 cleared. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cleared, 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 cleared. Sheesh. That is how we start the Monday, guys. That is how we start the Monday. We start the Monday, with securing the bag. We start the Monday with making some profits, getting some dollar signs in our accounts, right? See, a lot of people cleared this trade. A lot of people cleared this trade. A lot of people cleared this trade. All right, that's awesome. That's amazing. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. So I do want to, touch on also why we took this trade. Right, I do want to touch on super cleared. We are deep in profits, guys. Everyone, majority, right? I know that. I think 2 people broke even. I think 2 people broke even, right? I think only 2 people broke even, right? But everyone else made money, right? Everyone else made money. Everyone else made money. Hopefully, you guys took this trade. This trade is deep in profits, guys. This trade is deep in profits. 92 people on this call are witnessing and making money in minutes with me live on this call on a Monday morning, right? So let me just quickly break down, right, what's really happening here. Cleared 2-0. Awesome, 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 awesome. So why we took this trade, ladies and gentlemen, right? Let me explain why we took this trade, right? And why, right? I was confident in taking this trade to the upside. So me personally, right, I have a point system, right? 3-0, awesome. I have a point system that I abide to when it comes to taking my trades. So anything that is a 4-point trade and above is a good trade. But me personally, I like taking 5-point trades and above. This market is moving, right? I like taking 5-point trades and above. So let's just count down. So listen, right, and pay attention to why I'm counting down and the reasons as to why this trade was actually a good trade, right? Everyone cleared, everyone made money. I'm happy and grateful, right? So point number one, guys, right, is the fact that USD is stronger than JPY. Remember, I said that, when the first currency is stronger than the second currency on the seesaw, what we're looking at is we're looking for an upward trend. So already I knew coming into this graph that, okay, we're looking for an upward trend here, right? So that's point number one. Let me just go back to USD JPY. So I knew automatically that we're looking for an upward trend here. So that's point number one. Point number two, guys, is we had the up arrow over here. Now that we have the down arrow, but we had an up arrow. So what does that mean? It means that we're pointing to the upside. So the market at that zone was ready to move up. So we had an up arrow. So that's point number two. Point number three, stochastic was below the green line. Stochastic was below the blue line. So what does that mean? It means the stochastic there's overbought and oversold. So stochastic was oversold. So what does that mean? It means that the buyers were ready to come back in and push this market back to the upside. So when it's above the red line, it's oversold, it's overbought. And when it's below this blue line, it's oversold. So that's point number three. Stochastic was below this blue line over here. So that's an indication that the market is ready to move back to the upside. So that's number three. Number four is the trend. So RSI, right? What do I always tell you guys about RSI, right? If this black line is above the gray line, if you guys can actually see this thick line, if price is above this line, that is an indication of an upward trend. If price is below this gray line, if this black line is below this gray line, that is an indication of a downtrend. So where is price currently? Price is currently above the gray line. So what does that mean? It means that the market is moving to the upside. Guys, please make sure that you're muted when you jump on these calls. Please make sure that you're muted when you jump on these calls, right? Cleared. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Happy and grateful for all of you, right? So point number 4 is the RSI. So we're seeing here the gray line and price is above this line. So that is an indication of an upward trend. So that's point number 4. Point number 5 is, are we at a floor? Remember, when you're buying, what do you want to buy? You want to buy at the floor. So let me just remove this over here. Let me just remove this line. Boom. What do we have here? We have a floor. So we were at a good zone because we were close to a floor, right? So that's number 5, right? Number 6 is, if you guys can actually see, we have the EMA there. The EMA is blue. When the EMA is blue, that's an indication for a strong upward trend. That's an indication for strong buying momentum, right? So that's point number 6. Point number 7 is timing, all right? Remember, I always talk about timing. I say that I always want to take my trades at the 15, the 30, the 45, and the hour mark. Why? Because the market tends to want to reverse at those zones. The market tends to want to reverse at those zones. So we were now on the 15 mark. That's why we took this trade. It was coming in on the 15. So what happened? We were pushing down. So we had 2 red candles. Now on the 15, what tends to happen is that price tends to want to reverse. So we were on a small downward trend, and then boom, 15, reverse. It turned and started to move back to the upside. So that's 7, all right? That's a 7-point trade. Now, an 8-point trade for me is, remember, what do I always say? I always say that you want to look at what price was doing previously, because price leaves clues. Price leaves clues. So just here, we have a floor, but let's look to the left. What do we have to the left of price? Over here, we have a ceiling. Over here, we have a ceiling, right? We have a ceiling on both, right? So what do I always tell you guys? A previous ceiling can turn into a floor, and a previous floor can turn into a ceiling. So what happened here is that price broke the ceiling, right? It broke the ceiling, and then it came back, and now it turned the ceiling into a floor, right? So it came back to retest the ceiling and then push back to the upside. So that was an 8th confirmation. It's the fact that price was coming down to a zone where it already had tested before, right? So that is an 8-point trade. 8-point trade. So that was a good trade. And that's why everyone cleared. When you clear, for those of you who are new, it just simply means you cleared, you made money on that session, on that trade, right? So do not be confused when you see a lot of people drop the clears, right? That means that you saw a green bubble that said total result, this is the money that you just made. And now your account balance has changed. It's more. That means that you just made money. If you're on this call and you cleared, you just made money with me, right? So it looks like, right, USD JPY is coming back to a zone again. Looks like USD JPY is coming back to a zone. So that was an 8-point trade. Now, my best trade is a 9-point trade. Now, what is a 9th indicator? Is the Bollinger Bands. If the Bollinger Bands were touching that level over there, then that was going to be another confirmation. You cleared 5-0. Jeez. If the Bollinger Bands were also around this level, that was also going to be another good confirmation for me. All right. So, but we still have an 8-point trade. Remember, anything above 5 and above trade is a good trade. Anything above 5 is a good trade. So we had an 8-point trade. That's close to an excellent trade. That was a great trade. All right. So USD JPY, let me just find USD JPY. Let's just see. I always, like I explained, guys, I take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, fixed time off. I always take 3 minutes fixed time off. Please pay attention to my sessions when I start. I always mention, the time of the trade. I always mention the important things that people need to pay attention to, right? I always trade fixed time off 3 minutes. I do not trade 1 minute. I do not trade 2 minutes. I do not trade 4 minutes. I do not trade 5 minutes. I always trade 3 minutes fixed time off. That's me. That's my preference. That's how I like trading. That's not to say that that's what you need to do. But if you're on my session, if you want to start making money like me, you want to start, applying the things that I do. If you want to get my results, you want to start applying my strategy. It's as simple as that, right? If you want to trade 2 minutes on my sessions and you don't make money, then please do not come to me and say, but I took a 2-minute trade on your session when I said I take 3-minute trades. Because the reason why I take 3-minute trades is because I win majority of my 3-minute trades. All right. So please do not take 1 minute or 2 minute or 5-minute trades on my sessions. My sessions are strictly 3 minutes fixed time off. USD JPY now is moving away from the zone. It's moving away from the zone. Let's just look for another setup. NZD USD also moving away from the zone. I would have liked to take this trade around this level. It's also moving away from the zone. CAD CHF, not in a good zone. We're not trading anything with the euro. GBP CAD, not in a good zone. GBP JPY, don't like the strength though. Still okay, not in a good zone. GBP CHF, also not in a good zone. USD CHF, no, not in a good zone. So currently right now, it looks like the markets are all not in good, buying or selling zones, all right? Because we always want to move with the market. We want to move with the momentum, right? We want to move with the momentum. So I'm looking at markets that are already set up nicely for us. AUD, USD, potential. Let's go AUD, USD. Let's go to AUD, USD, potential sell opportunity, potential put opportunity, right? We're looking for a put on AUD, USD. We're looking for a put on AUD, USD. So everyone go to AUD, USD. We're looking for a put on this market. I'm just patiently waiting and hoping that in the next 16 seconds, it's going to push up to a good zone. It looks like it's already making a move down. So it's not close to the ceiling. So I'm not confident in taking this trade, right? It's not close to the ceiling. Remember, when you want to take a trade, you want to take a trade at either the floor or the ceiling, right? So this trade, right, was definitely, for me personally, not in a good zone, right? It is also that it is making the move, right, to the downside. So it is selling, right? It is selling, but me personally, I can't call out a trade to over 90 people on this call that I'm not confident in, right? On technical, that was a good trade. Now, I always tell people that there are two types of traders. There are technical traders and there are strategy traders, right? Technical traders are going to trade more. They're going to, take more trades, right? And they're going to win, right? But they're not going to be as consistent as strategy traders, right? If you stick to strategy and you make sure that majority of your boxes are ticked, you're going to win more trades, right? So on technical analysis, this was actually a good trade, right? And it's actually making that move to the downside right now. And I'm sure there's some people, guys, please pay attention to my sessions. When I'm going to call a setup, I am going to tell you guys exactly which trade and what to do. If I haven't said anything, it means that we're not taking any trade. I will specifically say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Like the previous trade. Remember the previous trade? I mentioned the currency. I mentioned that we're going to call. And I mentioned when we were going to call. I counted down and everyone took the trade. If I don't do that, that means that we're not taking any trade. So please, please, please do not ask whether we're calling or putting until I tell you guys. I will always mention what we're doing. I will always mention what we're doing. Right? Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Listen and learn. Once you start to learn, you're going to start to earn. do not try and rush to take every single trade. All right. Your duty is not to trade. That is not the number one priority of a trader. The number one priority of a trader is to master the skill. So you shouldn't even be asking me whether we're calling or putting, because that's not what you should be doing. You shouldn't be wanting to take a trade. You should be wanting to listen and learn, because once you learn what I'm saying, you're going to go out there and you're going to start doing exactly what I told you, and you're going to start making money. This session is not to make money. I don't have these 5 AM sessions to make money. I have these 5 AM sessions to teach so that people learn. But whilst they're learning, they're actually making money. That's the beauty of this, opportunity, is that whilst we're learning and whilst we're growing, we're actually making money. All right? So I'm looking now, for a setup, right? So this market, like I said, already made that move. So we're not taking this trade. We're not taking this trade. I did mention at the beginning that I'm not comfortable with this trade. So we are not going to take this trade, because my duty is to educate and make sure that people are paying attention. I can't say that, you have to take a trade at the floor, at the ceiling, and then take a trade just in the middle of nowhere. Because look at what happened here, that this trade closed in the middle of nowhere. So, and I always say to people, when a trade closes in the middle of nowhere, what tends to want to happen is that when the new trading idea opens, it wants to fill up the gap before it makes that move to the downside. So there was a high probability that this trade would have pushed up to go test that zone and then push back to the downside, right? But it didn't, it pushed down. And if people took this trade, they made money. It's completely fine. If people took this trade and made money, it's completely fine, guys. All right, it's completely fine. Some people are going to jump on my sessions and see good zones, right, and take the trades. For all of the advanced traders on my sessions, I know that you guys are taking some of these setups and are making money, but you have to bear with me, right? We have new people on these calls. We have new people on these sessions. So for the sake of the new individuals, I have to be, certain and sure of the trading opportunities that I personally call out, right? But if you guys see good setups, right? If you guys, identify the zones, right? You can actually take those trades. It's entirely, fine. But for me, because I still have new people on these calls, I can't just call out, any single trade and any opportunity, all right? But I will say, okay, this is actually at a good zone, right? And I will explain why it's at a good zone. And then if you're comfortable with taking that trade based on my analysis and your knowledge to what I've been teaching, you can take those trades. For example, we've got someone who cleared the previous trade. So we've got someone who took that trade and they took it on technical analysis, right? It was a good trade. Like I mentioned, it was a good trade, but I just wasn't comfortable with calling that trade because I'm still teaching the new individuals on this call, right? But for all of the people who are, who know how I trade, who know the strategy, who know all of that, you can keep taking some of the opportunities that keep arising, that I keep opening up. It's completely fine, all right? But me personally, as an individual who is still teaching and educating, I can't just call out every single trade. How do you clear a trade? It will clear automatically. As soon as the time is done, the trade will automatically clear and will show you either a green bubble if you've won the trade or a red bubble if you've lost the trade. You do not click any button, automatically the trade will clear. Right after the time has elapsed, the trade will automatically show, right, that it's cleared or not, and you can actually see that in your account balance at the top as well. So for example, we do have someone who cleared the AUD USD trade, right? So someone made money, right? They saw the setup, right? I did mention that it was a good trade, just wasn't comfortable with calling it out for, everyone else, right? But it was sitting at a good, zone. And that's why a lot of people took it and made money. Not a lot of people, man. A couple of individuals took it and made money. So obviously now I'm looking to take my next trade at the 45-minute mark, right? So I'm going to be patient. I'm just going to, wait, and look at what the market is going to give me, all right? Look at where the market is pushing, the zones in which it's coming to. And then at the 45-minute mark, I'm going to take my next trade. So always tell people use proper risk management. So with a $50 account, I would say per trade, if you're still new, take anywhere between $1, $2, and $3 trades. Right? If you're still new, you still want to, get the groove, the rhythm of how to make money, right? I'd suggest per trade that you take, right? Take anywhere between $1, $2, and $3, right? And then and then what's going to happen is that, what do we select at option type? Turbo. I hope that's the option you're talking about. On your broker, it should be turbo. Cleared UJ. I don't know what's happening right now with my hourglass. Let me just refresh. Let me just refresh my hourglass. So let's just wait for all the new candles to open so we can see cleared UJ. Awesome. So we can see what we have for the next 5 minutes. Yes, guys. For all the new members, right, we do have an orientation call today where you're going to learn how to take a trade. You're going to learn the important things to understand and listen to, right? For my people, we had an orientation call yesterday. I did mention the 5 important things that you need to listen to, when you're taking a trade with me, whether it's the currency pair, the time of the trade, the amount you need to put in, whether we're calling or putting, and when we're going to call a put, right? So my people should know how to take a trade with me. And my people, I should be confident that my people, right, are clearing these trades, right? But everyone, we do have an orientation call today at either 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., but you will get the schedule on the I Am Alerts group. You will get a schedule where it's going to clearly indicate when there's going to be an orientation call. And then please make sure that you jump on those calls and you listen attentively, right? You listen attentively, right? Because guys, you have to understand, listening is a skill. Listening is a skill, right? Because some people ask questions that I've already gone over multiple times, and they still ask me the same question, right? Which means that they weren't paying attention. Now let's just go to AUD USD. We're looking at AUD USD. AUD USD is hovering around a good ceiling It's hovering around a good setting price. Looks like it's already making that move down, but it can push back up to give us enough room to go back to the downside. All right, so that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping this market is going to push back up, but it looks like it's making a strong downward move. Okay, now it's pushing back up a bit. Let me just look at something else. I like the way I'm feeling now. I can lose you now. I can lose you now. Oh, I like the way I'm feeling now. But right now I'm chilling now. Also, when you're looking for setups, guys, you always want to look for setups that, you know, have a big difference gap when it comes to, it looks like all these markets are actually making those moves. Every trade idea that I'm opening right now is already making that push to the direction that I would have liked to take it on. All right. So I'm just, so literally every market that I've just opened right now is already pushing to its intended direction, right? Let me just go back to AUD USD because it was the only currency that I saw that was actually hovering around entry, but it's already pushing down. So at this current point in time, we do not have a valid setup, right? All these trade ideas. Okay, guys, AUDCHF for a call. AUDCHF for a call. Let me just quickly refresh. We're looking at AUDCHF for a call in the next couple of minutes. Right, let me just open up my broker account. AUDCHF, we're looking for a call. Is it me or is this graph funny? Like I can't really see what's happening here. So I can't, there's like a good big gap here. I don't really see where price is currently at here. Let me just, okay. No, it's definitely not in a good zone. Can you guys see that now? So Hourglass was just giving me, you know, wrong setups. So that was definitely not worth paying attention to, right? So we didn't have any, you know, setup that was setting up nicely for us at that mark, right? Like I said, it's not always going to be, okay, at the 45 mark, we definitely have to take a trade, right? The market is just to move the way it wants to move. We just have to be patient and wait for the setups to come to us. So simple as that, right? Our duty is not to trade. Our duty is to wait for the market is to learn. AUD USD cleared. Awesome. So we do have people who are clearing and making money with us, right? My official score is 1-0. I call that one trade. We won one trade. A lot of people obviously, you know, took multiple trades, you know, multiple ideas that I've been sharing, all right? So I'm happy and grateful for you guys. Happy and grateful that you're learning. But my official score for today so far is 1-0. I call that one trade and we cleared that trade. So USD CHF, what I'd like to happen is I'd like for it to push back down to this level over here where I marked. There's actually another zone over here. So there's actually two possible zones. Let me just put this second zone over here as well. There's actually two zones here, all right, that I'd like to take this trade idea. All right, two zones. So the reason I want to take USD CHF is obviously, first and foremost, this is an upward direction. This is an upward trend. You can actually see this market is pushing to the upside. There's more blue candles than red candles. So that's another one confirmation, all right? Another confirmation is the fact that USD is stronger than CHF, all right? So that's also confirmation, all right? But what I want to happen is I want this market to push down to a zone where we can buy it back to the upside. Because remember, when you're buying, you always want to buy low. So I want this market to push down to the lowest point possible for me to be able to buy it back to the upside. So that's why I'm waiting. This is why patience has come in, because you have to wait for the market to come to you. You have to be patient and observe and look at what the market is going to do and wait for it literally to come to your zones, your sweet spots. And that's when you want to take that trade. Now, I've identified two hot zones here, right? I've identified two hot zones. The first zone is this zone over here. Why this zone? Look at this market is pushing heavily down to the zone. The reason why this is a zone is because we have what? We have a previous floor, a ceiling. We have a previous ceiling. Now remember, previous ceiling can turn into what? Can turn into a floor. So what might happen here, right, is this market might bounce at this level. Let me just put this exactly on. Okay. What might happen is that price can come bounce at this level and then push back to the upside, right? That's one probability. Second probability is that price might actually break this level and go retest a floor. Now over here at this level, we have a floor. Now I'm more confident in taking this trade at this level than this level. Why? Because at this level, we had multiple price movements at that zone. Now remember, you always want to look at what price has been doing to the left. Now at this zone over here, if we look to the left, there's actually a floor, a ceiling. There's actually another ceiling. What does it mean? It means that price at these levels around this area, you know, this is a high impact area. This is a high zone because price has been coming and testing this level more than 2 times, right? Because over here, we have a ceiling. Here, we have a ceiling. The ceiling turned into a floor. So I would like this market to come back and test this floor again before pushing back to the upside. But what might happen is price might just retest this level and then push up, all right? It might retest, it's at that level right now, right? So what might happen is that price might just continue to push back to the upside. So let's just be patient and watch what's going to happen. Let's just watch what we've got 2 zones. All right, we've got 2 zones. But this market is definitely not ready where it is. Why? Because look at where stochastic is at. Stochastic is nowhere near the green line. When this market is ready, stochastic is going to touch the green line or it's going to break the line. All right, so what does that mean? It means that this market is not yet ready. So it still needs to continue pushing down for us to align it with the strategy. For us to align this market with strategy, this market still needs to push down so that stochastic is below this line. As soon as it's below this line, then it's ready. Then we're going to start looking at other probabilities, right? What is the market telling us? Okay, this is what's happening here and then there. And that's why we're confident that this market is going to continue pushing back to the upside, right? So we're waiting now, right? This is a waiting game. We have to wait for the market to come to us. So in the next 8 minutes, what I want USD CHF to do is I want it to continue dropping. You can see that there's a red candle that's opening. You know, market is trying to push this market down to a zone. It's trying to push this level down to a zone. So price is actually coming to us right now, right? So I would like to, I'm confident in taking this trade at the second line. at the second line, right? But we're going to see where price ends when it gets to a timing. This market now is pushing down, right? It's close to the first zone. It's close to the first zone, but if you guys can actually see at that zone, price is not ready. It's not at stochastic, is not below that line. So let's just wait, be patient, observe, and look at what we're going to do here. Boom, it's breaking that level. Can you guys see that? It broke that first level. So what's happening right now is that it's coming to the zone. It's coming to the zone right now, right? It's coming to that second layer. Look at here. Look at stochastic right now. Stochastic is almost at the line. It's actually kissing the line, all right? So this market is coming to us right now, right? This is why you have to be patient. You have to let the market come to you. You know where you would like to take this trade. I did mention that I'd like to take this trade at the second line. Why? Because that is a high impact zone. Market tend to want to, move and reverse at the zones multiple times. It's dropping, guys. It is dropping massively, right? It is at that floor right now. It is, let me just move this. If you guys can actually see, it is at that floor right now, right? It's at that floor right now. So let me just put this exactly at this floor over here. We are going to call, but I will mention when we're going to call this market. Remember, guys, also sometimes you have to not per se listen, but observe. Like, we can't sell this market when we see that it's an upward trend, right? Remember, guys, sometimes you have to, how can I put this? I don't want to say you have to listen, but you just have to, look at what the market is doing. Look at the trend, right? Sometimes I don't even have to call what we're going to be doing, because you should observe and look at what's happening, right? I mean, here we have an upward trend. When we have an upward trend, what you should be looking for is an upward movement. When we have more blue candles and market is moving up, we can't be looking for sells. Why? Because we always want to move with the market, right? We always want to move with the market. So this price now is breaking this level as well. It's breaking this level as well. It's coming down to another level. All right, so let's just wait. At this current point in time, USD is just moving frantically. CHF is moving, very, very, very frantic and fast. USD CHF. So now we're coming in on timing, right? Now we're coming in on timing. Might be late though, but we're coming in on timing. So guys, sometimes, right, if you don't hear whether we're going to call or put, this market is already making that move to the upside. If you can't hear whether we're going to call or put, right, just look and observe and look at what the graph is doing, right? Because the clues are there. The clues as to what we should be looking for are there. Because every time that we want to buy a market, if price is at this level, then that's an indication that we're looking to buy this market. So we can't be looking for a puts. So if you look at the market, if you look at my screen and you didn't hear whether we're going to call or put, look at what the market is doing. What is the market doing here? The market is moving up, it's trending up. So we do not want to trade against the trend. The trend is your friend. This market is moving up right now. this market is moving back to the upside, right? But here's the thing now. I didn't call up this trade. Why? Because it's not on timing. Number two, that move, that candle, CHF, that Swiss franc candle, was moving frantic, right? It missed, it bypassed two of my zones, right? So that's why, I was like, okay, let me just observe. Sometimes it's good to observe. Like I said, our duty is not to trade. I'm also learning, right? So I'm not just gonna, jump on every single trade, right? I'm also learning. So I'm just observing because I saw that, okay, hey, listen, this red candle is bearish, like it's moving very, very fast and it's bypassing all my zones. So what do? I take a step back and I just learn and I observe. I look at what the market is doing so that I can also use that moving forward. I'm also a student. I'm also learning, right? You can never, 5% for the day. Awesome. Hit target, hits. Awesome. Right. I'm also, still learning, right? As much as I'm educating and helping you guys, but everyone still wants more. So everyone is still growing. Okay, looks like is coming back actually. Which currency pair was that? Which currency pair were we on? Which currency pair was that again? Let me just go back. Which currency pair, please? Which currency pair was that?
USD Swiss franc.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Let's just go back to USD Swiss franc. It's coming back now, right? It's coming back now, and now it's coming back on timing, right? So in the next minute, everyone go to USD Swiss franc. We're going to call this market. This is going to be our last trade for the day. We're going to call this trade USD CHF in the next minute. Okay, now it's pushing back up, right? Let's just wait and see if it continues to push back to that zone in the next 50 seconds and it is literally at the floor. We're going to call this trade back up. But if it is in the middle of nowhere, I am not going to take the trade. But the trade is ready. Now, it just flew up right now. It just flew up right now, right? It just flew up again, right? It was coming back to the zone, but now it just flew up. Yeah, it's gone. It is gone with the wind, gone like a scone. It is gone like a scone. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is, us coming to a conclusion for today's session. If you learned something, drop some fire emojis in the chat box. If you learned something on the session, drop some fire emojis in the chat box. We officially took one trade on the session, cleared that trade, made money on that trade, right? So we have 1-0 on today's session. We're starting the week, with a clean slate, starting the session with a 100% win ratio, 1 trade, 1 win, everyone made money, right? I know that a lot of people made, 3 nils, 5 nils, 4 nils, right, on the session. So I appreciate you guys. I'm happy and grateful for you guys. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. But what I want you to do right now, is I want you to go back to the group chats and drop your scores, drop how many clears you got today, let's make some noise in the group chats. Let's show everyone who wasn't on this call, that, hey, listen, we're making money, but we're learning. Most important thing is we're learning, but whilst we're learning, we're earning, we're making money, all right? Because our duty is not to make money. Our duty is to learn, because through learning, we're going to earn. But you don't earn without learning. You first learn, then you earn. So if you learn something and you made money, go drop your scores back in the chat boxes, in the group chats. Let's make some noise, show people that we're actually learning and making money on these sessions. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. I love you all. Have a blessed and productive Monday and an even amazing week. And October is going to be a month of blessings, a month of abundance. And I'm just happy and grateful for everyone who jumped in. We had 90 something people on this call, and it was an amazing, so I want to stay happy and grateful, and I love you all. So yeah, cheers guys.